What is up, Mouse fam? Welcome back to episode 3 of Podcasting the Mouse. This week, we are joined, as always, by my co-host, Karik, down below. And we have a special guest this week, the one that all the fans have been asking for, Mr. J over there, Aesthetic Puppet. You can ask him what Aesthetic Puppet means, but it'll be a 20-minute explanation. So
it's not a 20-minute explanation.
So, Jay, go ahead and get us started. Just let us know where everybody can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Aesthetic Puppet. I put it in my name, so you guys can find me there. And you can find me on TikTok, same name. So
yes, Jay recently has been blowing up on TikTok. So guys, make sure you find him there. But the hottest of his takes are on Twitter, so you can follow him on both of those. And then Karik down below, you can let everyone know where they can find you.
What's up, everybody? It's King the Ka, aka Karik. Switch that around. It's actually Karik, aka and whatever. You know the drill. You can find me at King the Ka 92 on Twitter. I don't know why I'm blanking right now. You can find King the Ka 92 on Twitter. On YouTube, you can find me at just regular King the Ka, spelled just like that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that is King the Ka _92. And you know, if I'm feeling in the mood, I will follow back. So let's do this.
He usually doesn't follow back, so I wouldn't take him up.
He's lying. I actually usually do. If you have a profile picture and if you have more than, I don't know, I'll just
you got a blast of followers there, weren't you? But yeah, make sure you guys sub to him on YouTube as well. He's got really good content on YouTube. And then everybody find Jay on Twitter and TikTok. His TikTok recently has been blowing up. Really great stuff there, so you can find him there. And then obviously Twitter is where all of us originally met. So that is our main connections. You guys can follow us there. All right, that brings us into our first topic. And today we are going to be discussing the hottest news in the Disney community the last couple of weeks. Fortunately for Jay and myself, we got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind 3 days ago. Jay and I were there for, Jay was there for the AP preview and I was there for the DVC preview. So we both got to ride that together, which was awesome. Unfortunately, King Dakar had an invite, but he was unable to make it. He will be at Disney World next month. Actually, yeah, pretty soon in about 4 weeks. So Karik, hopefully you'll be riding it yourself in about 4 weeks, and Jay and I will hopefully be with you.
There's no hopefully. I'm riding it.
Yeah.
I don't care what I have to do. I will be riding that. I'm really good with virtual queues, so I'm on top of that.
There we go. All right, so Jay, I wanted to talk first. You and I just straight off, like, what are our thoughts on the ride? We can talk about what we loved about the ride, what we liked about it, and then at the end we can kind of talk about how this ride transitions Epcot in from the old Epcot into the new Epcot and just that whole transition as a whole. But before that, I just want to know first and foremost, what were your thoughts? You can talk about whatever you want. Just let everyone know your thoughts on this ride.
So first off, I love the ride. I absolutely love the ride. I'm in love with the ride. I think the Imagineers knocked it out of the park. I think it's an amazing ride. It fits new Epcot very well, and we can talk about what that means for Epcot. And I know we're going to talk about that later. I think that the ride it's going to bring more people to Epcot that maybe just don't want to go to Epcot on their vacation. A lot of people leave it out. If you've got maybe children that want more action-oriented rides, teens, preteens, maybe they don't want to go to Epcot. Now they get to go to Epcot and they get to ride this really cool roller coaster, basically. So I love the ride. Absolutely love it. I think it's a home run.
Yeah, I 100% have to agree. If we're ranking things and rating things, I think after the ride, we were talking about it and we were all high up on it. I think 9.5 or above. I don't think personally it's a perfect 10 out of 10, but I think that it's about as great as you could get in terms of, what they were working with, in terms of it being having to utilize an old show building and having to fit it in where they fit it thematically. So I'm probably right around a 9.5 out of 10. I'm with Jay. I think it was absolutely incredible. I think the best part about it is it's just straight fun. And that's probably exactly what you could say about Guardians and DCA. Critique what you want about the thematics or the ride system or how it fits in the park. But when a ride is just pure fun, it's gonna supersede all of those complaints you can make. And Guardians is just pure fun. Even the people that are going to complain about where it fits, I think they're going to have a blast on this ride. And that's probably the best part about it, is that it's just pure fun. And I think another amazing thing about it too is this has an incredibly detailed queue. And Disney World as a whole is known for great queues, but Epcot is not. Epcot is pretty lacking. Outside of Frozen Ever After, almost all of their queues are pretty trash. Test Track, I guess, is okay, but other than that, it's pretty trash queues throughout. And so the fact that this ride brings one of the best queues in the entire resort is another huge plus. Jay, what were your thoughts on the queue and kind of I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but that reveal in the queue, what were your thoughts on that?
So the queue is obviously great. I thought, just a note, I think the Ratatouille queue is decent. Like, I think that queue is decent as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's got a couple of good scenes.
I don't think it's like, I don't think it's Soarin' or, whatever, just a standard looking like an airport style queue. I mean, I will say the queue is great. The way they kind of move you through the queue. I mean, it honestly moves so fast that we couldn't even like look at all the elements a lot of the time.
Yes.
The queue is amazing. All the thematic elements are there. The way they load us into the pre-show rooms is great. There's a little couple things that I don't want to spoil too much that I could complain about there, like how they, herd us into certain spots. That makes it a little hectic, but like always that Disney does, we get to the point that you're filling in all available space and you're like, okay, what does that mean? Fill in all available space. And they go, surprise, after the all available space section, they're like, okay, get back in your groups and get in line. And it's like a mess, but that's fine. That's Disney. That's par for the course. But the queue itself is amazing. Like, everybody's going to walk into that first room and just be blown away.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up the holding rooms, because when I first walked through it, I was like, man, these are so awesome. Like, I love what they've done with the individual rooms, but you're 100% right. Disney has this problem with assuming the best out of their audience, which maybe we should give them credit for that. But Disney continually tries to make people go from like a single file line into a big room, then back into a single file line. And it just doesn't work. And you could already sense the frustration among the CMs trying to work these rooms. And these are AP and DVC people you're talking about, and CMs, like the most, expertise, not expertise, but the most, like, they've had the most experience with this. When it comes to random like tourist guests that are making their first trip, I think it's going to be a big nightmare. So I am glad you brought that up. It's not, I think the queue itself is amazing, but the practicalities of it might be a little tough. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, overall, I thought the queue was amazing. So we can bring Karik into this. Karik, obviously you haven't been on the ride, and I know you're not really a spoiler guy, so I don't think you've watched the walkthroughs. But what are your thoughts on like this attraction and the reception it's been getting and how it fits into Epcot right now?
In terms of just what I've been seeing, everybody's just like, this ride is amazing. Like, I think I've seen like one or two negatives, but in a whole as a group, everybody's just like, this ride is amazing. It's just so innovative and dope, and the Imagineers were just like, it's like a one of a kind ride, and I can't wait to ride it. It's very this is one of the main rides that I'm really trying not to spoil, even though I've seen some spoilers on Disney Parks Instagram, but I'm really trying to steer away from it. But in terms of like it fitting in Epcot, I think it's a perfect fit for Epcot. I mean, when I think of Guardians of the Galaxy, I think of futuristic. When I think of futuristic, I think of Epcot. And if I'm ever going to put an IP somewhere that has to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, Epcot was a perfect fit. I know some people were like, no, this fits more in Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom or in Hollywood Studios. But I'm like, no, I see where Guardians fits, and I see how they made it fit with basically creating their with Xandar and creating their own background into the country. So it makes it fit in a sort of way that isn't educational, because it's not realistic, but it's just fun. Like, sometimes not everything has to be educational, it's just fun. Like, just straight up unprecedented fun. And I think that's fine, because I have more to say on that when we talk about Epcot. So
yeah, I do. I guess we should kind of tread lightly, because this is going to be obviously a hot topic, as it's already been on Twitter, as Jay and Karik have seen firsthand with their own feeds. But I do like your point about like how this fits into Epcot. And Jay said this earlier in his review, how this is going to bring new people into Epcot. And ultimately, that's the most important part, because I do kind of see the Epcot purist side of that this doesn't thematically fit, or that Epcot is supposed to be about the real world. And I do kind of get that point, but ultimately that's not going to sell tickets to new guests, like new guests that have never been to Disney World before, which we've seen as Disney's primary like target right now. They don't care about old Epcot. They don't care about the real world. They don't care about edutainment. They care about what's going to draw them to the park. And so in terms of balancing both those walls or both those, sides, the one side of new guests and the other side of like classic, old Epcot, I feel like this does a pretty good job. I mean, I don't think the fit's perfect. Like, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 fit, like you said, but I definitely agree that it's an overall solid fit. Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
So, no, I was going to say, I mean, so with old Epcot, let's just talk, with old Epcot, you're talking about, wonders of the world. You're talking about learning about energy or your body or things like that. I think some of those folks, it's okay to like those things. It's okay. That's fine. You can like those things, but to acknowledge that things change, that things move forward, that the audience is different now. I know that there's a lot of those folks that are lamenting that the audience is different, but it is. That's just the bottom line. And Disney would not be a successful company if they didn't acknowledge that and then move forward. And I've always regarded, at least as long as I've been around, I've regarded as Epcot as supposed to be moving forward, always in a state of change. Like, I want the park to grow and change. I want it to change. I want people to, I want kids that come into the park at 10, 11, 12 years old that maybe have never rode a roller coaster in their life or not anything that intense to ride that roller coaster. And that's what brings them there. And then they get to go into the World Showcase and see the different countries and stuff like that. That is the gateway to build them in there to go see Mission Space or Test Track or any of these other things. And it's okay. It's definitely okay. Like, the world is not going to crumble because somebody's 9-year-old today can't ride Body Wars. Like, Jay,
I think I got to clip what you just said to make it a separate video, because that was so spot on. I 100% agree with you. And I think you said it too. I think you said it well too, because Epcot purists get really offended when we say these things, but that's because on Twitter and stuff like that, context doesn't come off well. But you said it like so perfectly. Yep. Disney guests aren't going to come into this park thinking what old Epcot guests are. They're just going to be coming in thinking, what rides can I do and what is there to eat and drink? And so this introduces them to those things. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Orange Grove, because he said this in a recent video about like Epcot and how people are arguing that Epcot is leaving the like science realism, and entering obviously a fictional place in Xandar. But isn't Disney always been about like Disney's version of that, like Disney's version of science, fact, and all that? And so I feel like this is a perfect representation of that. Yeah, Xandar's not a real place, but we're still learning about like the Big Bang. We're still learning about like the similarities. They discuss the similarities between Earth and Xandar. So it's still educational in that regard. So I 100% agree with you, Jay. I agree with what OG said too. And I also feel like what you said, Jay, about like the park changing, wasn't that what Epcot was always about? Like the future and like how the future changes. So why do Epcot purists want to stay in the past so much if it's always been about like Epcot changing and like, showing us the future?
They had Barbie and Captain EO. I mean, come on, man. Like,
exactly.
I mean, if they had all that stuff, what's wrong with the talking raccoon?
Yeah,
like, literally. Really nothing. Like,
and even Maelstrom and like Body Wars and stuff. I get they were based on science, but they still had like fictional aspects to them. You're going inside someone's body, or with Maelstrom, like there's trolls and stuff. I get that that's part of the Norse mythology, but isn't mythology the point? Like, mythology isn't realism. Like, we're taking a look at science fact based on whimsical things. Like, that's what Disney's always been about. Like, you look at like DCA 2.0 and Buena Vista Street, it's how Walt envisioned California. It's not supposed to be California. And that's what I feel like Epcot is doing a great job of, and that Guardians of the Galaxy is so good. It's a whimsical look at science and space and stuff like that. So yeah, Jay, I just thought that was perfect. Kareek, you got any other thoughts?
Nah, I forgot you were talking too much. No, I'm just kidding.
Typical podcast in the mouse. Ranking the Mouse talks too much and Kareek forgets what he's gonna say.
No, I'm just kidding. So recently I went to Disney World in Florida. Obviously, I went to Disney World in February, and I went with 2 teenagers. So we weren't staying that long, and we only did 3 parks. So literally, I told them to look up Disney World and see which parks you want to do. So right off the bat, they all automatically went to do Hollywood Studios, because Star Wars, one of the boys in Star Wars, the other was in Toy Story. And when it came across Epcot, we ultimately ended up skipping Epcot because they were like, I'm not like, we don't like want to go there to necessarily learn. We have Liberty Science Center for that. There's just a place here that's literally about science and energy and stuff like that. And it's like, and I told them it's not 100% all about like they make it in a fun way, but it's like that seems like more of a school field trip type of situation. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna fight you on that. I didn't really necessarily bash Epcot because I know on Twitter I may say like Epcot's my least favorite, but I do like Epcot for what it is. I actually really do love Epcot. It's just the Epcot people on Twitter make me dislike it a little more, just because it's just the back and forth. It's just the back and forth. I'm not gonna say it like, but other than that, that's why I'm like, Guardians of the Galaxy is a step in the right direction to bring to like Jay said, to draw kids in that have never been to Epcot, because it is a high speed roller coaster, and that's what those boys were into, high speed. If I think about Epcot in the time that we were going, the only one that we might have had was Mission Space. Nothing really too high energy and exciting and thrilling like that. Thrilling, that's what I meant to say. So this is a perfect perfect addition. And on top of that, it's our first Marvel ride in Disney World. So it's like we finally got something that Disneyland technically, in a sense, doesn't have, because they have Guardians of the Galaxy, but they don't have a roller coaster ride that we now have. Right. So I mean, it knocks two stones out fine, and it's so dope to see. But it's now an exciting place to go, especially the things that are being added to it. So now we have the new Ratatouille ride, we have the new Guardians of the Galaxy. What else do we have? That's thrilling.
The Moana Journey of Water's coming soon.
Even if that's a walkthrough, I'm actually really excited to see what they do with that, because I mean, water spectacles, it's actually pretty cool. But other than that, like, I still can't wait to see what they're doing with. That's why I'm very much pro future Epcot. 100%, because I like the fact that you're throwing in IPs, but then you're mixing it. You're still keeping what makes Epcot. You know what I mean? And it keeps it smart. It keeps it. You keep people wanting to learn. Like, you go to these different countries and you're figuring out how it works and what they eat and what they do, and you're in the culture around it. Like, I love that about Epcot, and that's what people don't get when they speak to me, because I don't speak highly about it, because I don't have a place to speak about it, even though I would like to speak about it on Twitter, but you know, all that other stuff. But
that's why you have Podcasting the Mouse, bro. Come on now.
So true. Wow, this is such a great
that's a great point though, and I think you and Jay made the same point too about bridging the gap between old Epcot and like newer people coming in. What better way than the state-of-the-art ride system, like roller coaster, like that's gonna get new people in, and then like Jay said, then they'll be able to go experience the rest of the park. So
exactly,
yeah, overall, we're on the same page. Epcot purists, we're not hating on you specifically. We just wish that you would open up and see that it's not just a locals park, it's a tourist park. So I think we can all agree on that. But yeah, so Jay and I got to ride it. It's an amazing ride. I would say personally, just to bring the topic back one more time really quick to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind specifically, the best part about the ride is it is such a unique feeling. Like if you're a coaster junkie, this is still going to give you a new feeling you've never experienced before. If you don't do coasters, except for like what Disney offers, like Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, etc., this is going to give you a completely different like feeling. It's just a super unique ride system, and that was probably my favorite part about it. Like, yeah, the huge screens are cool, like the queue's cool, but the fact that you're getting this new sensation on a coaster was probably my favorite part about it. Jay, do you have any closing thoughts on what you thought about your ride experience before we hop into the next topic?
All I'll say, and it's not a spoiler, is like your song choice can change your ride. Your song choice can change your ride. That's all.
Yeah,
just keep that in mind.
Right, 100%. And I would say that adds to the rewritability. One of my biggest critiques about Disney rides is when they don't have rewritability. And this ride literally has, I mean, that's what's so cool about Guardians Mission Breakout and DCA is it has this rewritability with 6 different songs. Yes. And now you have 5 different songs in Cosmic Rewind, which makes it such a rewritable ride. So great point by Jay. Overall, guys, got to get out to Epcot and experience this attraction. Make the Epcot purists mad by buying tickets and just fill in the queue. You're going to love the ride. All right, with that being said, we're going to hop into Cosmic. Topic number 2, which is kind of related to Cosmic Rewind, but we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the great of the future of Epcot. So I know we've kind of touched on this before, but we're going to try and be a little bit more specific. So we'll start with the good, and then we'll go to the bad, and then the great. So, Jay, what is your good about the future of Epcot?
Well, the good about the future of Epcot is I think more people are going to come to Epcot, like just in general. You know me, I'm a fun guy. I like to be around the countries, hang out drink around the world. I'm that guy, I don't drink around the world these days. It's old hat. But I will say this. People think that like the park is exclusively for that sort of person, but you really want to bring in younger people, younger kids that want to experience Epcot. You want to get them in through Guardians. You want some of them, if they're younger, to get in through Frozen or Ratatouille.
Yep.
And then you want them to be in the World Showcase to experience the foods and things that they've never seen before, or see Harmonious for the first time or anything like that. I think Epcot growing into a new generation of people that are seeing it is a good thing. So that would be
amazing. Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, solid. Creek?
Good. I think I would have to go with the holy shit.
You want me to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me.
Okay, I'll share my good.
You want to know why? Because my good is my great, and so I'm trying to figure out which one I want to separate. So go ahead.
All right, we'll come back to you. So my good is kind of along the lines of Jay, but my good with the future of Epcot is the diversity of options. And I mean, that kind of goes along with Jay with like the, different amount of people that are gonna be able to experience it. But the fact that you can now like just enter through International Gateway and just experience Future World and have 3 rides there now with Frozen, Remy, and I almost said Coco, Grand Fiesta Tour, 3 Caballeros, or you can experience Epcot the traditional way and like now have an exciting roller coaster, which like, if we're being honest, Test Track is not a coaster and Mission Space is just not that thrilling. So you have this new, new age like experience. So there's just and now with Journey of Water, you're going to be able to have a complete experience in that way with a super immersive like walkthrough. Epcot is needed for a really long time in terms of like a walkthrough with foliage and water and stuff. So the diversity of options coming to Epcot is just making me really excited. Creek, you got a good?
So I would have to say the good is it is basically the new structure of Epcot and what's to come and how it is completely changing. I feel like that's a park that needed such an upgrade, right along with Hollywood Studios, and obviously Hollywood got got Star Wars, where it was kind of like, okay, so what are we gonna do with Epcot? How are we gonna enhance this and make it better? And I feel like they're going right along the right lines on how to draw people in and make it seemingly for the younger and for the older, and it's kind of making this a double park. It's finally going somewhere that I can see it being super successful and maybe even better than the other parks. It might be above Hollywood Studios at one point when it's all done. That's a positive for me. So so we'll see where they go when this is all said and done. But that's the thing about Epcot, it's not done yet. Like, it will never be done. Like, there's always something that'll be added. Hopefully there's another country that'll be added, because there is space to add another country. So it's like the progress for the new Epcot that's the good, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm done. Sean, did you freeze? I think Sean froze. Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, cool.
It's you and I right now.
It is.
Now Sean is back.
Now Sean's back.
I'm back. What's up? Sorry, guys.
I guess Sean didn't like he didn't like
Kareem through to you. And
you angered me, bro. You said you complimented Epcot.
And you were literally like Elsa. You were frozen. So
Jay, you are an expert at bringing it back full circle. That's fantastic.
I don't know,
You
All right.
like B mode Elsa, where he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, you were just B mode Elsa right there. You just.
All right, we're gonna bring it. We're gonna get a little negative here. We're gonna please the Epcot purists here by going a little
right
negative.
up my
alley. We're gonna share our bad of Epcot, or the future of Epcot, anyways. So Jay, what's your bad?
Oh, my bad. Oh, see, so I've struggled with this about my bad, because I want to say Epcot is always in a state of changing, so there's always construction going on there, and that's kind of obnoxious, and you can't have change without construction and walls and everything else. But so I don't want to be unfair to them. So the bad of Epcot currently and going forward is, look, there is like how do I put this? There's like a ticking time bomb at Epcot that needs to be done, and that's Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
Like that is a nightmare, like a
Mhm.
literal nightmare. Like right now, like they should just shut it down now,
Mhm.
like just immediately and get on with that 2-year renovation or whatever. Because out of the last 5 times I've been on that ride, 3 times I ended up stuck on it,
Mhm.
where it just stopped for like 15, 20 minutes, and you're
Mhm.
just there, you know. And I love the ride, but I think that it needs to be updated. And if we're all talking about the good of drawing other people in, younger generations and everything like that, the ride is great. It just needs updated tech. The track needs to be replaced. Please do Spaceship Earth. That is my bad right now. Please, just Spaceship Earth. It's just all Spaceship Earth. Please give her the love she deserves. Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if I can name an attraction that needs a refurb more badly. And with Cosmic Rewind being open, you know, I mean, maybe they have to wait a little bit, you know, while the surplus of crowds just cracks down in that park dies down a bit. But now that they have more capacity, you're right, it'd be a good time to do it. So that's a good one. Kareek?
The bad for the future of EPCOT, I would have to say, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I know as of right now, because it's the future. I don't know what's to come. Just from what I've heard, I would honestly, and then I know this is gonna sound really weird because we literally just got 2. I would love for them to start back up the production for the Mary Poppins ride. Like I feel like each showcase in each country deserves a ride where I don't know, not deserves a ride, but it would be great because there's so much space in the UK for that to be done, and maybe for Canada to get its own ride again. But it's just like start back up. Like I feel like that the more Epcot would have, the more it would the more choices for people to have. I know people are just like, oh, Epcot is already a 2-day park, but that's for drinking and eating alone. And I feel like with rides, you can be done with rides in less than, you say you start at 11, you can be done by literally 2 o'clock, depending on what you want to do. And I know a lot of people usually skip Mission Earth because they hate that ride with the whole headache and claustrophobia type of situation. But it's just like add more of those, like add more rides. That's it. And I know that sounds so weird coming because we literally just got 2 brand new rides, which I am not knocking at all, which were definitely needed, completely needed, but yeah, just add more. That's it.
Yeah. So it sounds like your bad is just needs more rides / budget cuts, you know, because we've had, you know, with obviously, thank gosh, we got Remy and Cosmic Rewind, but they were very behind schedule because of budget cuts. And then obviously we got Mary Poppins cut, and we got the 3-story, I can't think of the word, the 3-story,
like the festival pavilion,
the festival center, the 3-story festival center cut. So you're just, sounds like you're kind of saying budget cuts and just more rides, more activities.
Yeah, that's basically just the bad as of right now. I'm really optimistic about everything else. Like Epcot is going in the right direction, which is very, like I said, this is all weird for me to say, but that's how I honestly feel. Like I've always liked Epcot. So
yeah, no, that's an interesting point, and I would agree, because when Epcot was created, the Communicore and like Interventions, like that core of the park was meant to be a couple hour attraction in itself. You were meant to go in there and explore. So the second that became outdated and shut down, it kind of took a couple hours of like operations out of the park. So Remy and Cosmic Rewind coming gave life back into that park. So it's good that these new rides are coming. So yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah, my bad is for the future.
I actually low-key wish that Germany kept their ride. Like I always go in the back of Germany where the ride was supposed to be.
Oh yeah, that wall.
So many YouTube videos. I really wish that would be a ride, but it is what it is. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Come on, Chapek, build a Germany ride for us. Make the fans happy. Yeah, my bad for Epcot is guest flow, and obviously it's bad right now with the walls. But even when the walls are gone, I'm still a little worried about guest flow, man, because you have right now everybody. If you're not rope dropping World Showcase, you're going directly to Test Track and now Cosmic Rewind. Obviously they have boarding passes, but that's probably won't be for long. You know, the virtual queue, that'll probably only be a couple months. So I can see that park getting pretty overloaded with guests on the left side there. And obviously with the guest flow with Remy, that not being the best layout in the world, with it only being one path back there. So yeah, I'm a little worried about the future of guest flow. Opening up the center again with the Moana Journey to Water and the Festival Center and all that is really going to help a lot. Connections opening up is huge because that is a giant store. So it's getting better. but I still think there's a lot of work to do for guest flow and guest movement at that park. So that worries me a little bit. Jay, you're great with the future of Epcot.
My great is we're talking about Epcot changing in a lot of ways, to suit future generations or whatever. I also think on the other side, the announcements they made a couple weeks ago talking about the Communicore stage in the center area, Moana Journey of Water. I think, and somebody's going to get me on this on Twitter or something like that. Who knows? But I will tell you that I love that Epcot is embracing itself as the festival park, as the special event park, as we have a concert in the park type of thing, because there are the other three parks besides special events on the stage at Magic Kingdom. The other three parks are not really equipped for that. And Epcot can kind of embrace that, whether it be Flower and Garden or Food and Wine I actually think that the future of that park is bringing in new audiences with rides like Guardians of the Galaxy. But the great is also, when you bring them in, also showing them even better festivals than before, more performances than before, more contemporary artists than before. They're trying to get more artists, and dirty word, Universal's ahead of them a little bit in that regard as far as the contemporary artists that they're bringing in. I mean,
they are.
But that opens them up to have more concerts in the center area once they open that up and do more stuff. I mean, the pavilion at the American Pavilion, the concert stage area, that's great. But it's in an odd place in the park. It's in an odd place. And I don't know if I could get my 16-year-old daughter to see Simple Plan, when they come in June or whatever, and be like, hey, they're in the American Pavilion at that pavilion back there. First of all, she'd probably tell me, who's Simple Plan? But she can get hyped about Jason Derulo coming to Universal.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're 100% right, Jay. Universal, one of their most successful events, and I would say what Universal does it in general very well is their events. HHN and Mardi Gras. The most successful parts of those events, well, not HHN, but Mardi Gras, is the concerts they bring in, and that brings in so many guests that wouldn't even visit a theme park. So you're 100% right. That's a huge pro. And I will also say too that Karik and I aren't locals, and Jay, you're a local, so our viewers know. I think Epcot is shaping up to be a perfect locals park. And I know people are always going to say, oh, it already was. But to your point of bringing in that concert stage, what a huge boom for locals. To bring even locals that aren't Disney fanatics, to bring them in with new entertainment, it's just genius. Super smart of Disney. So I think that's a good, really solid great.
I agree.
Karik.
My great, and everybody's going to hate me for it, but I don't really care. My great, I am so friggin' happy that they're finally bringing in more IPs into the park, because to me, that is what Disney is. Now I know Walt Disney's, I know his vision for Epcot. I understand it. I do, but we are moving forward 20 plus years where, if you're thinking, okay, when not even kids, when people come to Disney World, what do they want to see? What brings them in? And it started with obviously Finding Nemo, but I think it really took off with when they put Frozen in Norway. And that was the start of I feel major IPs coming into the park, because you would have never thought or guessed to put a Frozen ride where Maelstrom, I'm not saying it right. Maelstrom was, so it's such a throw, it was kind of threw people off, but it's smart. It was a smart move, because now you're taking these countries that literally are just standalone countries. They come from where they have things that from where they come from, but you're throwing in IPs to kind of to make that Disney fan happy, or make that kid or a child or even adult kind of okay, well, this is a stand up because this is the Disney part. Now this is the real world part. And I'm I love that. And the more IPs they throw in, they got me. And I will be in that park for a while, because you got Ratatouille, you got Finding Nemo, you got Frozen, you got now Guardians of the Galaxy. What else are they gonna throw in? They're supposed to, like I said, it's supposed to do Mary Poppins. It's cool. I love that. So it's a little tiny bit of Disney in Epcot, even though Disney is Epcot. It's just keeping it modern, I guess.
It's why I tweeted out today. I was like, "Yeah, you want to bring back Body Wars? Make it an Ant-Man attraction. You'll get kids in."
So dope. That would be such a
Your podcast in the house was good while it lasted. Our show has officially been canceled. Thank you, everybody, for listening. No, I don't. That's a solid great Creek. I mean, I like IP for Epcot. I don't love it. I hope they still bring in original stuff, but I'm with you. It's going to bring in a different crowd. So I think it's a solid grade. My grade for Epcot is the diversity of, I don't know how to explain it, but the uniqueness of attractions they're bringing in. And I mean that in like different types of like experiences. So normally with Epcot, you have Spaceship Earth and Grand Fiesta Tour and Maelstrom and, you know, the Nemo ride. I don't even remember what it was before the Nemo ride. You just, and Living at the Land. Fun rides, but they're one note rides. They're, you know, I love these rides. I'm not hating on them, but they're one note. Even Universe of Energy. It's a dark ride. You're going through scenes, edutainment. That's great. There's nothing wrong with it. But with Cosmic Rewind, you have a spinning roller coaster through the dark. And with Remy, you have 4D effects. You have the heat effects, the water effects. It's 3D, but practical effects still. With Journey to Moana Journey into Water, you have a walkthrough through like waterfalls and foliage. Like, just the uniqueness of attractions coming to Epcot is so crucial to that park. And so I'm not hating on those one note attractions, but Epcot used to just be, you know, every attraction was one note. You knew what you were getting. Figment. It was all just, you know, dark rides basically, or water rides, boat rides. And we're getting more unique attractions. And so that makes me pumped. Obviously, we already had Test Track and Mission Space, which are unique, but they're pretty bland attractions in terms of theme overall. So I'm pumped about the future of ride experiences coming to Epcot. All right, that is our good, bad, and great for Epcot. You guys can let us know down in the comments what your good, bad, and great are as well, and how you agree and disagree with us. That brings us into our top three, or topic number 3, top 5. Every week with top 5, we try and go thematically consistent with our guest. And for those that don't know, Jay is the king of drinking at Disney World. If you have a drink at Disney World and you don't take a photo with the classic Jay pose, you didn't actually have a drink at Disney World. It doesn't count. So with that being said, we're going to go through our top 5 best bars on property at Walt Disney World or Disneyland. This doesn't have to be in the parks. It can be anywhere on property. And it doesn't have to be just a bar. You know, it can be like any place that serves alcohol. So that's going to be our top 5. So we're going to go one at a time. We'll each share our 5, 4, 3, 2, down to 1. You can just share a couple sentences. So Karik, why don't you get us started? Your number 5 best bar on property.
I'm going to go with number 5, Disneyland, the Mint Julep Bar. It's just practical. It's there. It's not really a bar, but whatever.
You're creative with that one.
Yeah, they serve great things there. I like the atmosphere there. You know, right between New Orleans and the Haunted. I really like it there. So it's pretty dope.
It has bar in the title, so you win.
It does exactly. Well, I got you. Come on.
All right, Jay. Number 5 best bar on property.
Dahlia Lounge.
Ooh,
Coronado.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one. You're a genius.
I love it because of the views from the roof. It's great at night. People are always talking about other bars where you get views from. That's the one that's slept on. Not enough people see it. You know, it's in a weird spot on the property, and not enough people see it. It's a regret unless you're at Coronado. I love that bar. Love it.
Bro, that is an incredible pick because that is a great bar. For the record, Karik drinks alcohol, but usually not at the parks. I don't drink at all, but my wife does. Jay's a big drinker. So we're all coming at it with different perspectives. I don't drink alcohol, and Dahlia Lounge is one of my favorite places on property.
It's amazing.
It didn't even cross my mind because it's so like hard to get there. You know, like unless you're on property at Coronado, you're not thinking about that bar. So that is a great pick right there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, if Jay's the master of drinking, then of course he's going to come with like the heavy hitters. So of course you're going to think about that.
Jay, you got a lot of pressure on you on your top 5.
I know. I don't like this pressure. I don't like this pressure. I don't like this pressure.
Yeah, my top 5 is childish compared to yours. It's childish, so.
My number 5, keeping in mind I'm not a drinker, so a lot of these are just theme-based or like uniqueness-based. My number 5 is Oga's. I've heard the drinks aren't great, but as a non-drinker, I freaking love Oga's, man. Like, if I'm ever like trying to get that like party vibe or like that nightlife vibe, Oga's is really one of the best spots to get it in the parks, especially when you're at Disneyland or Hollywood Studios, which has Oga's. So I love Oga's, super lively in there. Love the theme, love the atmosphere. So Oga's is my number 5. All right, Karik, number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Oga's.
Here you go.
Like, dang it. I was hoping but yeah, my number 4 is Olga's only because the theming is just really awesome. Even when with the non-alcoholic drinks, they really cater to those also. So I really like the way that it's set up. It makes you feel like you're in some scene in Star Wars. So it's actually pretty cool, and it's pretty dope. And a little DJ is a nice touch.
Yeah, they did a great job catering to, not just drinkers at that bar. All right, Jay, number 4.
So number 4 for me, we're gonna go with Jock Lindsay's.
Oh, Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, Disney Springs.
Jock Lindsay's, just for the theming. I just feel like, so it'd be higher on my list if, since COVID, it's more obnoxious to get into now. I usually have to go there like midday. Anything in the evening time gets like kind of hectic there, and like they forget that you checked in at the front. And they said they call your name, and like there's all kinds of stuff on social media about people that have had trouble at the front door there. It used to be a lot less problematic, but I'd put it at number 4 because it's still, I love the theming, and they always have great snacks there. And like, the drinks are great, but the snacks are even better. I had an infamous video I put up months ago when they did the bacon Temple of Doom thing, the chocolate bacon, and they bring it out and like they take the lid off of it and there's smoke pours out of it. And, it's great. It's fantastic.
And Jock Lindsay's got a really good SEA tie-in. So that's a solid choice right there. I love it. I actually have never been. Kareek, have you been? If not, Jay, you got to take us, bro.
Yeah. We go to Jock Lindsay's.
Never been to Jock Lindsay's.
I'm going to be there for a week next month.
Oh, just go to Jock Lindsay's.
All right, Jock Lindsay's on our list.
All right,
my number 4 is the Craftsman Bar and Grill at Grand Cali in Disneyland. You could have probably put any of the bars at Grand Cali, Napa Rose, any of those, and I would have accepted it. There's a vibe at the Grand Cali that's just so hard to replicate. And also Disneyland Resort doesn't have a lot of those like Disney World does, just places to chill because it's so small. And the Grand Cali just feels like you're just away from everything. It's so relaxing. So Craftsman Grill or any of the bars at Grand Cali, that's my number 4. Kareek, we're hitting in the top 3 now.
All right, so my top 3, the Tangaroa Terrace.
Ooh, yes, sir.
I really like the atmosphere around there. When the last time we went, it literally felt like I wasn't even in Disney anymore. Like it just felt like I was somewhere in Ireland. Like it was just a really, really dope experience, atmosphere. I didn't get any of the drinks. Unfortunately, I low-key wish I did. But it's fine. Like it was just a dope setting. So I really liked it.
Solid choice.
A lot of these are Disneyland. I'm starting to notice.
All right, Jay, number 3.
Number 3 for me is going to be Nomad Lounge.
Let's go. I can't believe I didn't have that on my list either.
I love Nomad Lounge.
Right, you're coming
I love Nomad Lounge. I love the theming. I love how laid back it is. You could sit out there for hours and just, watch the time drift away. So
I've heard their drinks are amazing too at Nomad.
They are. Nomad's great. Love Nomad. It's just a chill vibe there. It's not hectic. It's a good place to just meet people. And like, if it's funny because people come to town and they're like, hey, let's meet up or whatever. And I'm at Animal Kingdom where you don't meet. Nomad Lounge is normally the go-to spot because it's easy.
Nomad Lounge is absolutely clutch. And it's one of those places too, like normally stuff on Twitter or like the Disney community, like the more it gets known about, it just gets too hyped up. I feel like Nomad Lounge is still not that. Like it just comes in clutch at all times. I'm pretty mad I don't have that on my list. Your list is for sure dominating mine and Creek's right now. That's why you're the bar guy. All right, my number 3 is actually at Coronado as well as Jay's was. 3 Bridges Bar and Grill.
Yes, 3 Bridges.
And I love that place. It's just beautiful. I'm a sucker for like water features and being on the water. So 3 Bridges Bar and Grill knocks it out of the park. The one con against it is it's pretty expensive. So that, you got to go there wanting to spend money, but fantastic bar. I don't know much about the drinks, but the bar area there, just hanging out, or the restaurant, fantastic. All right, top 2, Kareek.
My number 2 is the PIM testing lab. I actually did get a drink from there. I forgot I did, and I really enjoyed it. Just being at Avengers Campus with that right there, and then they mix drinks actually pretty well. I really liked it. I forgot what I got, but it was pretty dope. And it's all about atmosphere for me. That's what I'm going with. And just to sit there and drink my drink and watch the Avengers fight up on near the Quinjet, it was just all such a, I don't know, it's just something about the setting while drinking is so dope. Like a show in a show and a meal. So pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty.
So, and some of their drinks too that you order have the super cool like reverse pour. So it's a pretty fun thing. I mean, obviously I know a lot of bars have that already, but if you're not into the bar scene, like that's pretty unique and fun to watch. So that's another plus to that one.
So I'm done.
All right, Mr. J.
Number two. Geyser Point.
Oh, Geyser Point.
Geyser Point. Love it. If the weather's nice, if it's a nice night on the lake, on the water, sit in the lounge chairs. You have appetizers. The appetizers there are great. Drinks there are great. Like just the atmosphere of that place. Again, the atmosphere is like, that's why I put it so high on my list. There are people that are like what you would consider pros or whatever on social media that would be like, why did you put Geyser Point above like Nomad Lounge? And it's just that Geyser Point on the right night with the right weather is, I could sit out there for like 4 or 5 hours. I can just eat food and, have good conversation with people. And it's not even necessarily about the drinks. It's more about like just the atmosphere itself. So
yeah, now Geyser Point's the one down by the pool area, like below the pool area.
Yeah, it's below the pool area. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Kareek and I are actually staying at Wilderness Lodge when we go to Disney World next month. So
Geyser Point.
Have to put that high on our list.
Geyser Point. I'll just show up at Geyser Point. I will show up at Geyser Point. You just say my name 3 times like Beetlejuice. I will show up at Geyser Point. Like I will just show up there. I might show up on a boat too. I might come in from the water angle. If you say Jay 3
times into a mirror, you automatically just show up with him at Geyser Point.
I might show up from the water angle. Who knows? Like I just come in from the water. I'm just like, they're like, you're gonna be like, why does he have a boat? Like,
if we have any kids watching our show, they're gonna be having nightmares tonight about Jay just poking up out of the water.
I mean, that's fine.
All right, my number 2, I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm actually going off Disney to Universal property, Isla Nublar at Universal Hollywood. I'm pretty sure they don't have this at Orlando. I know
they do not. They do not. We want them to build it, but they do not have it there.
Yeah, so just Hollywood. So I haven't tried the drinks yet, and actually my wife hasn't either, but we want to. But just freaking love the theme here, man. Jurassic World area at Hollywood and Jurassic Park area at Orlando too. Just one of the funnest areas to be. It's just so like relaxing while still feeling adventurous at the same time. And so yeah, Isla Nublar, just a great place to sit and chill. Just fantastic theming overall. All right, number 1 for everybody. Kareek, start us off.
Switch to me because I thought I wrote it down. I forgot the name of it.
Okay.
So switch to me. I'll be back.
Actually, hold up. I want to go last with Jay because he's had the best list all day. So I want to leave his number 1 for last. So I'll give my number 1, then we'll go Kareek, Jay. So my number 1 is Trader Sam's at did we lose Kareek? We lost Kareek, but hopefully he'll be back. My number 1 is Trader Sam's at Disneyland. The Trader Sam's at the Polynesian at Disney World is good too, but it doesn't have the charm and the history that Trader Sam's at Disneyland has. So that's my number 1 there. I don't like the drinks there. I've tried a couple of them, but my wife likes them a lot. They're just super fun. Like to have a whole show and performance like based on your drink order and it not be that crazy expensive either is just fantastic. So my number 1, Trader Sam's at Disneyland Resort.
Bro, I was literally going to say Trader Sam's. That's why I went back. I was like, what is the name of that place? Yeah, we're not. Yeah, so Jay, we're clearly not we're experts at this, and you are, and you've topped our list going out of the park. So I'm not even gonna explain why Trader Sam's is mine, and I was gonna say that I just think it's pretty dope. Just go ahead. It's not even great. I'm done. Throw in the towel. Go ahead.
You're gonna throw.
All right, the true number 1 best bar on property from Jay.
You're gonna throw in. You're gonna throw in the towel. I know.
I'm throwing the towel because I can't compete with you. That's why I'm throwing it.
So here's the thing on the number 1 bar for me. And I have some news for you guys. It's Trader Sam's.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Viewers, I promise you he had no clue that he was wearing that shirt.
Let's go. It's Trader Sam's.
That's so fun.
Let's go. That's W's for everybody.
It's Trader Sam's. So, yeah.
Viewers, I promise you, Kareek and I had zero clue Jay was wearing that shirt. I had not seen the shirt this whole time.
And I actually wore the shirt because I was like, they're going to ask me my top 5 bars, and I'm going to say Trader Sam's at number 1, and I'd probably show them the shirt. And then you guys set it up perfectly by both saying Trader Sam's and seeming so disappointed.
That's really
I'm just like,
that's
boom.
Really,
that is absolutely amazing. That is amazing. Can you tell us why it's your number 1?
Well, 1, the theming. 2,
yeah.
the cast members that work there are amazing. Everything about the place is an experience. I would take anybody there, from my mom to, if you wanted to go have a drink, if you were 21, 22, up to somebody that was 71, 72. Like, I would take anybody there because it's fun. It's loads of fun. Something new happens there every time I've been there. Something funny, something that makes somebody smile or makes their day. Like, it's not about just the drinks. It's just about the theming. It's about the things when you order a drink. It's about the cast member that brings it to you and does a funny joke with you and makes your day. Like, that is the one. That's, it's the whole package. It's
the first time we've ever had all three with the same number one.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's weird.
All right, make sure you guys get out to Trader Sam's. And also, Jay brings up a great point. The CMs there are incredible. Maybe the best CMs on property at both Trader Sam's in Poly and at Disneyland. So, fantastic answer. All right, with that, we're heading on to topic number 4. This topic is all about our special guest. So this week, we're going to be learning all about Jay, his Disney passion. For the viewers who don't know, Jay just recently moved to Orlando area a couple years ago. So we're going to learn all about Jay. So Jay, you can kind of go wherever you want with this. Just let us know how you got into Disney, how your passion grew, how you got into the Disney community the last couple years. And you can even talk about, your family and how you guys all have annual passes, all that. Whatever you want to share, just let us know about your Disney passion.
So I live locally. I'm a Disney local. I can be on property in 5 or 10 minutes, give or take. I will say this. There was a time, people ask me all the time, they're like, what got you into Disney? Your parents took you when you were 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And like, my parents never took me when I was young. Like, never. I never went. In fact, I didn't see the inside of Walt Disney World until I was 12, and I went with a friend's family on like a weekend trip, and I had never seen Disney. And then after that trip, I didn't see Disney for over 20 years, more than that. I wasn't going all the time. I don't have these great memories that people always have of like, oh, I was 7 at the Magic Kingdom and whatever else like that. No, my wife and I have 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. They're 21 and 16. And we didn't take them until they were older. Like, we didn't want to deal with kids at the parks. I see people all the time. They're dealing with children at the parks, and hey, all my respect to them. But like, it wasn't our thing. We took them when they were much older, and kind of like when they could go, and we felt like they could enjoy it. And I really didn't become like really, really into Disney till about 2014, 2015, when I started taking them. And then they suddenly wanted to go all the time. And then we were suddenly there all the time. And I was going multiple times a year. And then suddenly it was like all of that missed opportunity that things I missed out on were, just, I was an adult with money. So, here it came, I'm like going to Disney all the time and taking my kids, sometimes not even taking my kids. My wife and I were going on trips by ourselves. I'm like, hey, you kids got school. Bye. We're like, we're going to Disney. And, we always associated with, we went to Disney. We went to Disney World, multiple times a year. I was posting all of my Disney World photos on Twitter as an outlet outside of Facebook or whatever else with family and friends, because quite frankly, besides like guys like you that I'm talking to right now, my family and friends didn't get what I was doing. They were like, you're going to Disney World again? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? And it's like, I'm a grown adult with money. I just like being there. It's nice. It's happy. I have a good time there. That's why I'm there. And then it just kind of like, people would like follow me and be like, oh, I love those photos, or, oh, I love, that you're doing this or that. And I ended up coming out I had never been to Disneyland when I was a kid, obviously. And I went to Disneyland a couple years ago, and, that was my thing. I started loving Disneyland too, and it's like, I got to a point where I thought that Disney and just theme parks in general were just generally my happy place. And like, I like being there. I like interacting with people around just the community and everything that's going on. And so I had an opportunity 2 years ago I was living in the mid-Atlantic. I was living in Maryland, and I had a chance to move anywhere I wanted to go. And when my job went fully remote and they said, you want to move anywhere you want to go? I felt like Tom Brady when he won the Super Bowl. I literally told them, I'm going to Disney World, like, and they're like, cool. And then so I moved down here, and You know, now I'm here, and it was the best decision I ever made. I get to see you guys when you come here, or anybody when they come here that interacts with me on social media or whatever. I get to see people all the time. I get to see people at their happiest when they're on vacation with their family or their friends. I don't get people normally in a bad mood. I catch people in the best mood. Like they were like, "You want to go to dinner? You want to have drinks? You want to go ride Big Thunder?" Yes, absolutely. I'll do that every day. It's great. And it's a really cool thing in my day to be like, I think I'll go out in the morning before I have to work. And I think I'll go ride Space Mountain and come home and go to work. It's a really cool feeling. And people are like, I don't ever downplay it. I will never downplay it. I will never be like, oh, I'm really lucky. Like, no, that's really cool. Yeah. Like it's definitely really cool. I'm very blessed, and I get to talk to you guys. And like, again, I get to work. People complain all the time about how I was just on another podcast. I was just on another podcast about this, talking about the community, just talking about the community in general.
Were you on? Are you talking about Park List Chris's podcast?
Yeah, I was on Chris's podcast.
I was on it too. Shout out, everyone, go find Park List Chris. It's called On an Unrelated Note is the podcast name.
Yep.
Jay was on there a couple weeks ago, and I was on there last week. So you guys can give shout out to Chris and go check out his podcast for sure.
Yeah, you can go watch me talk about Limp Bizkit. It's great. You know, like, but no. So I was on Chris's podcast and we talked about this. It's like, look, everything negative about the community always gets highlighted. It always gets highlighted because it's just everybody feeds off negativity. But I'll tell you this right here, right now, what we're doing right now is one of many examples of things that are good about the community.
Yes, exactly.
Like, this is people like talking about things that they're passionate about. And that's why I'm here. I like seeing people that are passionate about, whether it be Disney or Universal. Heck, if you're passionate about SeaWorld, right on, whatever.
Hey, the SeaWorld stands are out there.
Yeah, just be passionate about what you're into. And we all agree, and we're all going to the parks, and we all like different things. Maybe we dislike some things that other people like, or, you know, vice versa. But we're all very passionate about everything, you know, around the parks and about how that makes us feel. And I just think it's super cool that these platforms have enabled us to connect with other people that have similar passions as us and form community and friendship around that.
Yeah. And for the viewers that don't know Jay, Jay's thing, like what Jay's known for in the community is like the guy that will hang out with anyone. Like Jay doesn't, you know, if you go to the park, like I think actually Jay, I think I was one of the first people to meet you back in the day, man. We met like over a year ago. I actually might have been.
It's been a long time. It's been more than a year. It's been more than a year. Yeah.
And anyways, but Jay's whole thing is like hanging out, like bringing the community together, because I feel like, and if you don't want to meet people in person, that's totally fine. Like that's your prerogative. Like enjoy the parks by yourself. Totally great. But I feel like the community as a whole, like got brought together, you know, recently. And Jay, you were a big push in that, and just like hanging out with whoever and making people that otherwise wouldn't have been able to hang out with people or have social anxiety or don't have, you know, many friends, whatever, like bringing those guys in and hanging out with them. And so that's kind of one of my things, like I know you for, and I feel like you're known for in the community. So yeah, so everyone, you know, if you're going to the parks and you want to kick it, Jay, there's no like preconceived notions. Jay will be there to hang out with you, and that's one of the things I love about him most.
And look, I'm going to borrow the phrase from Anchorman. You know, 99% of the time it works every time. You know, like so. 99% of the time I meet with
I think it's 60% of the time it works every time.
No, we're going to say 99% of the time.
All right, I love it.
Like I will tell you, I meet with so many people, and there has not been very many instances where I met with somebody that I'm like, hey, if they don't like me, that's fine. But like, I have never met, you know, 99 times out of 100, I met somebody and we're going to meet again. We're going to hang out again. We're going to, you know, because like it's important for everybody to realize that the community should be about, look, we can all respect each other's differences, and it should be about a place where we can all hang out. And whether either of you are at Disney World or Disneyland, like, and I'm at either of those places, we can seek each other out and we can go have fun together, you know, because it's more fun to go to these parks together. You know, I mean, it's always more fun, you know, it's more fun. It's more fun 100%. To be positive.
Yeah, bringing the community together. So awesome, Jay. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you letting us know, you know, your whole thing, and you are the like hangout guy. You are the drink guy. That is your go-to in the fandom. So thank you for sharing. Our last topic number 5. We're going back to Jay. Jay, we need from you, in order, your top 3 favorite rides, Disney or Universal. Honestly, it doesn't have to be Disney Universal. Any theme park attraction in the world, top 3 in order, and the number 1 ride that you've never ridden you want to ride the most. It can be an international park or a park you've never visited or a ride that hasn't, has been announced but not built yet.
Well, we'll start with the ride I've never rode, and it's going to be, hopefully, depending on Disney, off my list pretty soon is Tron. Hopefully it'll be,
it.
Fingers crossed, hopefully sooner rather than later. I've always wanted to ride it. I was worried, years ago that I'd have to go to Shanghai to ride it.
Right
now, hopefully.
You might still have to go to Shanghai to ride it quicker.
I'm patient. I'm very patient. I live down the street. I'm very patient. I'll be outside the gate. It'll be like I'll be John Cusack and Say Anything with a boombox out there, just waiting for Tron.
You'll be banging at the gates.
It's just banging at the gates. I'll be out there. Let me in. It's fine. It's fine. Like Tron is the one that I really want to do. I'm. Maybe who knows? Everything that Disney does, I usually end up liking to some degree. I don't end up hating. Yeah, usually, right. So it's like I'm having big hopes for it. Like I tell myself I'm gonna go ride it once, and maybe I'll never ride it again. But then I'm like, oh, maybe I really like it, and then I'm at Magic Kingdom more than I thought. Who knows?
Love it.
So you want my top 3 rides?
Top 3 in order that you've ever been on in your life.
So you want to start at 3?
To start at 3.
It's really hard because like things are gonna get left off this list, right?
Yes.
And it's really tough. Like I will say I'm basing it off of my emotion the first time that I rode them. And like I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to leave Velocicoaster off this list and it's going to drive me insane.
Wow.
And it's based off of
you can an honorable mention. If your honorable mention is Velocicoaster.
Yeah, Velocicoaster is my honorable mention because, I told you I literally drew blood punching something as hyped as I was when I came off the ride last time. Like literally, I literally smashed my hand into something.
And Jay, my first ride ever on Velocicoaster was with you.
Yeah,
so
you're right next to me.
That my first time, sitting with you. So that was great.
Looking shell shocked, looking like you had just been through an ordeal. But so my 3, and this is in we're gonna go 3 to 1. It's like so I have 3 at Flight of Passage.
Ooh,
I love Flight of Passage. First time I ever rode it, I thought it was the best thing ever. Yep. I just think that it's still a tremendous ride. Q's tremendous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything about it is tremendous. I just that whole experience. I mean, and I'll tell you this: once you've rode it a bunch of times, you'll say you're not jaded to it, but you are to a degree. I took my dad on it last spring. He had never been to Animal Kingdom ever. I took him on it. He's not an online guy. And I took him on Flight of Passage. He doesn't know anything about the ride. I just took him on it. He loves Avatar. Took him on it. I thought he screamed so loud that he was like, I thought I'd never seen somebody have so much joy in their life. Like he was literally screaming. I mean, he is almost 70 years old and he is yelling next to me. This is one of the greatest moments of my life. Like he's like, I've been waiting for this ride for 50 years. and he's just screaming. And I get off the ride and the CM's right there. And she's just grinning from ear to ear because he is losing his mind off the ride. And he comes out and he just tells the CM that's standing there collecting the glasses. He's just like, that was the best thing ever. And I'm like, and I literally go up to her and I'm like, I'm sorry about him. And she's like, no, it's okay. It's the most pure emotion I've ever seen somebody come off this thing in a while, especially at his age. And he thought it was the most crazy thing. And anytime I told him about Guardians this week, and he's like, the first thing he says to me, he goes, but it's not Flight of Passage. He's like, it can't be Flight of Passage.
No, it's not.
And I'm like, and that's a high praise, So that would be my number 1. I mean, my number 3.
That's amazing.
So my number 2 is Rise of the Resistance. Even given the problems that it's had, the first time I rode it, when the first couple months it was open, I was down here the first couple months it was open, and I getting the boarding group and having a group and being able to get on the ride and everything like that. I mean, the ride's tremendous. And again, I took my father on it back in the spring, first time ever. He didn't know anything about the ride. I took him on it. It actually, we had a little bit of a malfunction in the middle where it froze for a second. It was so awesome to him that he didn't even he thought the freeze was part of the ride.
Part of the ride.
like he was literally like, oh, well, we got stuck at that one point. That's not part of the ride. And I'm like, no, it's not part of the ride. And he's like, oh, I thought we were just like trapped in the base. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like,
That's amazing.
and he loved it. He loved it. I mean, I love that ride. I still have a soft spot for that ride, even with all the things of like boarding queues and the long lines now. And if you can get on that ride, if you've never seen that ride, if you're watching this right now, you've never been on that ride, it will change the way you look at rides.
Amen.
Like, you know, and experiences. So,
yep, agreed.
My number one is going to be weird and shocking. Not Disney, not Universal. Just based on the experience, the first experience I had with this ride, and it's a thrill ride, and you cannot ride it right now anymore, and you may not ever be able to ride it again. And that's Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. Cedar Point, that ride is literally 12 seconds long, and I thought I was going to lose my mind when I got to the end of that ride. Because it's 12 seconds long, going that 400 and some odd feet up in the air, I screamed through the entire 12 seconds from start to finish. As soon as it took off down the track, I literally screamed from start to finish. And I rode it with my daughter, my younger daughter, and we rode it in like the middle section or whatever. And then I told her that day, I said, we're coming back tomorrow. We're going to ride that in the front. And she's like, no, she was little at the time. She was like 8 or 9. And she was like, no, absolutely not. You know, like, no. And I was like, I had to talk to her about it, get her worked up. Long story short, we rode it in the front, and I thought it was the most crazy experience of my life. And now, sadly, the incident with the ride that cost somebody their life, and you know, all this stuff, like people will probably, that ride is probably going to be torn down. I mean, they closed it all year this year. It's probably going to be torn down. People will never get to ride it. The closest you can get is, you know, the closest experience you can get is probably the Six Flags in New Jersey. You know, you know, that's probably it's probably the closest you can get. But tremendous ride. I still think about it probably at least once a week. Like you're not supposed to go up that high, that fast, like down that track where like the track, there's like steam coming off the track, and you're not supposed to go up where you see like the horizon of the lake in the distance. Literally.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're like, crazy for loving it though.
I love that ride, and I'm like, it's probably not going to exist anymore. It's going to be something that I grow old and tell people about, that like a myth. You know, like they're gonna be like, that didn't exist. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't know much about the ride. I'd only heard it a couple times, Jay. So I looked it up, and it kind of looks like Accelerator from Knott's Berry Farm in California, but it looks even more insane than that. Kudos to you, bro. That's an impressive number one.
The like I said, the one at Six Flags New Jersey, and King knows about it, you know, obviously.
I do.
You know? And the one at New Jersey is the closest, is basically the closest experience the same experience you're gonna get, you know.
You ascend above the clouds.
Yep.
And then you just psycho.
Yep. The one at New Jersey and Six Flags will be the closest one you could get. It's just, I think about that ride all the time, and like I used to go when we rode it the first time, like what would happen is that you had to have perfect conditions for the ride to get up over the hill. So winds would come off the lake, the ride couldn't run. If it was too windy, ride couldn't run because they did rollbacks. And if it was too hot, the track got too hot down the straightaway on the beginning, the ride couldn't run. So in the summertime, they'd run it in the morning, and then the midday from like 10 to 2, it wouldn't run. And then about 3 o'clock, they'd open it again. Everybody would race over there, and then it would run again for the evening.
Jeez.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. It probably should have never existed. You know, like,
well, that's an impressive coaster credit that it's probably going to only be more rare and rare as time goes on if it never opens. So that is a fantastic top 3 +1 Velocicoaster. You'll have to make sure you show your dad this podcast because he got a couple features.
I'm going to.
All right. Thank you so much, Jay, for your top 3 and 1, teaching us everything about your Disney passion. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you find both of these guys on social media. Kareem, can you let us know where everybody can find you?
Again, my name is King the Ka. You guys can find me at King the Ka 92 on Twitter. And you guys can also find me on Instagram at King the Ka _92. And you can also find me on YouTube, just King the Ka.
We need to get you some consistency there. We're going to get you, need to get 92 on your YouTube. Or something.
I don't know why I took it off 1 and then it's _ and 1. It's just confusing.
I like the 92. Leave it.
Thank you.
And Jay, let us know where everyone can find you.
You can find me on everything at my name that's listed right here, Aesthetic Puppet. You know, Twitter mostly, TikTok, Instagram. You know, find me there. You know?
Yeah, make sure you guys find him on Twitter and TikTok especially.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments your thoughts on everything we talked about, everything we ranked. And please let me know your comments on Cosmic Rewind if you've ridden it. I want to hear everybody's thoughts. That is the topic of discussion for right now. I cannot wait until I get to ride that ride again. It is for sure worth price of admission by itself to Epcot. Make sure you get out and experience it. Jay, it was a blast riding with you last week. Karik, hopefully get to ride with you in a couple weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, peace.